This might be the biggest scam in Milsim gaming history. In the past few days, Burning Lands has had 19 of its 22 developers go on strike. They published a public letter on the game's Discord stating that management has not treated them fairly and are now refusing to work. The CEO has moved forward with the Kickstarter despite not even having a development team behind him, and at the time of recording this, the Kickstarter itself has plummeted from nearly $100,000 raised to under $60,000 as hundreds of backers have begun to initiate refunds. This is all kind of crazy, and I wish I could say I'm surprised, but I'm not, and I'm gonna tell you why. If you haven't heard about Burning Lands, it was supposed to be a large-scale team-based tactical shooter, not unlike Squad, but set in the Vietnam era. The project lead, ChanceBrahh, was actually a former Off-World Industries dev and helped work on Squad before creating his own game studio, where they even sold the Aussie faction mod to OWI, where it became fully developed content. This studio, led by Chance, which was originally called Midnight Interactive, was then rebranded as 0 Hour Interactive, and the team began working on their own standalone game, Burning Lands. Now, we're going to go over the absolutely insane public implosion that Burning Lands, 0 Hour, and Chance have managed to do over the past 2 days, because, trust me, it's hilariously impressive the amount of destruction this guy has done to a game that almost everyone in the tactical shooter space was excited for. But first, I need to give you a little backstory since I actually find myself in a unique position here. Back in 2020, I'd actually been in contact with Chance to do a type of promotional event for the Aussie faction mod for Squad. I'd stream it on Twitch, I'd host it on my Squad server, The Potato Fields, and I tried to get a lot of people to not just play it, but also watch it. As an up-and-coming content creator, I thought this was a great opportunity and rolled with it, but this really should have been a red flag. A few months later, when Burning Lands was announced, I actually applied to be a content partner for the game, but was ghosted. However, Chance eventually reached out to me after I made a video on the Squad Vietnam mod. He messaged and asked if I wanted to be a partner and requested that I make a video at the beginning of every month whenever they do their recap. To make that more clear for you if you missed it, the start of my relationship with Burning Lands was a request that every month I use my platform on YouTube to give them a promotional video for free. This didn't sit well with me, so I just didn't make those types of videos unless I felt like the content was sufficient. Still, I was constantly being badgered by Chance either way. This weird relationship kind of turned me away from the game, and if I'm being honest, there actually wasn't that much to talk about or make a video on anyways. Public development was very minimal and not much was posted. This can all be corroborated by another creator, Friendly Nikolai, who also just posted his experience with Chance and the creative partnership over at 0 Hour Interactive.
The CEO of Burning Lands started forcing the creative partners to create content, including MoiDawg. Share more content of the models they've been creating. There was no gameplay to be showed at this point. This happened 3 years ago. My response to him was, I'm too busy, I'm waiting for the gameplay footage. And he started getting really rude with me. He sent this to me. Really lame. I was hoping 4-minute video trying to help us spread the word again. Gameplay will come soon, but I can't go giving you all the goodies straight away. If you are only helping so you can get a free copy or access to the early test, then may have to rethink. These comments just prove that this guy don't know anything about marketing the game. This is the worst way to work with the content creators, like, period.
I've linked this video down in the description below and would recommend watching it as it confirms everything I'm saying here. So fast forward to a couple weeks ago and I was contacted by Chance with a link to the Burning Lands Kickstarter page and a request for, you guessed it, a promotional video. He wrote, I have an idea, something like a little 3 minutes long video, just bringing positive attention to the title, no need to overhype something we know is early, and just sharing the Kickstarter link in the pinned comments and description. I'll skip the $65 price tag for the game, making you the only person to get it for free besides the devs, and then you can join us for a session later this week to grab your own footage. I responded letting him know that if he would like a sponsored video to please contact my agency and we can move forward from there, to which he chose not to follow up with. But instead, he would later send me a message stating that I was selected for the pre-Kickstarter program. This program would require me to send him $65 personally. Yes, I wasn't going to be sending this $65 to 0 Hour Interactive, but his personal PayPal through, as he wrote, the quote-unquote family and friends option covering any associated charges. I didn't do this. I will never do this, and if you are an aspiring content creator or even just a games enjoyer, please stay very far away from things like this. This is the reddest of red flags when it comes to scams, and it ultimately sets the stage for why I believe every single thing that developers are complaining about when it comes to Burning Lands. My communication with Chance ended about a week ago, but a few days ago, 19 members of the 22-member development team published this open letter to the community, and in it they signed and stated that they no longer felt that they can continue to work on the project under the current management conditions, which in the letter itself they kept fairly vague. Some devs had already been removed from the team prior to this letter as a result of the strike that has been ongoing, but the team still held firm in hopes to delay the Kickstarter and address these issues. Against the team's wishes, Chance pushed forward with the Kickstarter, with practically his entire development team refusing to work on the game. This letter, of course, resulted in absolute chaos on the Burning Lands Discord, where an AMA was supposed to be held on Saturday in hopes to push sales for the game and answer any gameplay-specific questions the backers or potential backers had. Instead, it was bombarded with questions regarding the status of the dev team. And in fact, the devs themselves were actually prevented from joining their own game's AMA stream, so they created their own voice channel and had their own AMA where the fired or striking devs began to openly trash Chance and the studio itself, with one dev even claiming to have been fired for missing deadlines due to taking care of his father who had terminal cancer. Most of these messages have now been wiped clean from the Discord, the AMA channels have been deleted, members, both developers and regular players who were trying to get in on the project because they like to play Vietnam games, have been banned. So with that being said, you can really choose to believe what you want to believe. A lot of the evidence has seemingly been erased, but I'm sure there's some copies of the transcripts or recordings out there if you really want to go searching for it. But if the CEO of the studio is literally banning devs and preventing them from joining their own AMA, and they hate the situation so much that they turn around and host their own, openly complaining at how horrible the management is, I'm more inclined to believe that this was a very, very toxic work relationship. I can't imagine anyone putting up with a job environment like this, but would you believe that this situation actually gets worse? Yes, the devs have actually never been paid for any of the work that they've been doing for over 3 years. I've been in contact with a developer who has been with the team for quite a while now but would like to stay anonymous, and he stated that the relationship between the devs and Burning Lands were more or less like consultants. Unpaid consultants. Not a single member of the dev team has seen any money over the 3 years working on this project, and many people felt as if this was turning into a personal cash grab for the CEO himself. I don't know the specifics, and even if I did, I wouldn't want to divulge that information so nobody breaks any type of legal work agreement here, but since Chance himself was trying to get me to make free promotional videos for years now, and then had the audacity to ask for $65 to his own personal PayPal account, I'm gonna choose to believe the developers on this one. Not only are people being banned from the Discord, but hundreds of backers have begun refunding their pledges on Kickstarter. Nearly half of the $100,000 that was backed for the project has now been refunded, and even while recording this video, I've seen it drop by $2,000 more. If you have money in this thing, take it out now. There are currently no developers working on it, and it's dead in the water, especially when you take a look at Chance's quote-unquote official statement in response to the events over the past couple days. Now, I typically paraphrase things like this when I make videos, but I'm going to read this statement in its entirety because I think it's extremely telling of what type of person Chance is. I will not stand idly by, and I find it ridiculous to have to counter this misinformation and address attempts to derail the company and project funding, which, at the time of this message, November 12th, 2023 at 9 p.m., has resulted in a 35% loss of potential funds. Were we ready for Kickstarter? Yes. Who makes decisions? I do, as a company owner and project lead. The lead programmer locked off builds to move to Unreal Engine 5.3, signaling readiness, therefore progressing to Kickstarter. I gave the team 12 hours notice that it was happening today, of which they knew over the coming day it would be happening, it just depended on having the trailer sorted. And 5 hours before Kickstarter, at 6:18 p.m. on the 27th, demands were made. Step down as director. I am the company owner and project lead. Step down as project lead. Bring on a board of directors. Take up a standard level design role and ensure financial transparency. In progress, pinning an Australian business combiz account. 2 hours later, I responded to the demands, but they were ignored. Why did I still go live? We were ready, and I trusted we could address these issues before the campaign's end. On the 28th, a scheduled call at 11 a.m. the following day and was ignored, and the same happened on the 29th for a call on the 30th. On the 30th, I gave them a deadline for scheduling a call by a certain date. A call was scheduled for the 1st, lasting 2.5 hours. Various topics were discussed, and at the end, I asked questions. I asked if the request was financially driven or just to have a voice in the direction of the company, which was answered. Saying that there was no financial interest, I wanted details about the board of directors. I wanted to know who, how many, and who would cover such a cost about the board of directors, but they claimed to not know and that they needed another discussion on this critical matter, which seemed disorganized to me and has still not happened. I find it concerning that demands about the board structure surfaced just hours before our campaign, with members having had up to 3 years for such involvement. On the 2nd of November, I posted up saying if we are to be having continued discussions, they are to show a strong sign of faith in the project itself by actively involving yourself during the Kickstarter period to ensure it does not hinder the company's funding opportunities. I said you can maintain your stance of not working directly on the project, but must uphold a visible public presence and engage with the community, which all members have failed to do. I was ignored for 10 days until the 12th when a defamatory statement was released publicly instead of continuing such discussions internally. I left the door open for discussions, but my attempts to reach out to some individuals were ignored. I gave them 10 days and they went public without addressing the issues. Please note, contractors going on strike are just refusing to work. They aren't employees and thus do not have the right to strike. Contractors failing to deliver things by deadlines are not acceptable in any business, but I was very flexible and I gave extended deadlines on many occasions that weren't met. Despite the storm they created, I'm still willing to have discussions because I value their contributions over 3 years. However, their negative and public actions have hindered development. They claim a desire for involvement but haven't communicated in the past 10 days, leaving me questioning their seriousness. The statement that was released by contractors working on Burning Lands was very disappointing. In one sense, they wanted to be a part of the project, and another they don't. They have been given an opportunity to be a part of this project, and if they aren't able to work under certain conditions or even continue having conversation about such changes, then perhaps this project isn't for them. If these individuals aren't the right ones to accompany me on this journey, I will find them. Despite these issues, we've worked together and can continue to do so, but there are unresolved issues that need to be discussed and resolved. The project will progress with or without Kickstarter funds. The game isn't dead. Kind regards, ChanceBrahh, Director. The language this guy uses in this letter is just shocking, and I can't believe he read through it all and thought that this would be taken well by the developers or even the community. It's all very accusatory. He takes no responsibility for anything that has happened and has even stated that it's the devs who have created this problem. To me, this looks like a rage text message you write and then press send, but regret at the moment the other person hits read. However, in the case of Chance, he doesn't regret it since it's still up on the Burning Lands official Discord. From my own personal experience with Chance to what I've heard in direct conversations with developers to everything I've seen come out publicly in the Burning Lands Discord, I can confidently say that I expect to see a Kira TV from Kickstarter to court video on this whole thing in a year or so. It's unfortunate that this project was handled by someone so greedy, but the red flags were there from the outset. Many content creators who engaged with Chance were put off by the way he was trying to take advantage of our platforms, and unfortunately, he was also doing the same thing with those developers who were working hard to make a dream game come true. If you haven't already, refund your money, get it far and away from anything 0 hour interactive touches, and go play Rising Storm 2 or something to get your Vietnam fix. But let me know in the comments below what you think about this whole thing, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. I still just can't believe that this is the Burning Lands video I'm ending up making after a year of not covering it. What a dumpster fire. But until next time, peace.